Hey, and welcome to Chapter 2 of our interpersonal class. This chapter really deals with the communication in the self and the identity. So the main question about this chapter is, what is self? And how does the relationships that we form with other people affect us? Last week in class, we kind of talked about list those 5 qualities that you feel really positive about yourself, and then list people who were influential to you and who really shaped who you are today. Because like we kind of got into before we dismissed classes, that people shape who we are. They help form our identity and they help form our self, which is what we're going to get into during this chapter. So I really want us to look at the self. What is it? Where do we get motivated to find out who we are? And is it possible for us to change ourselves? Going back and thinking about chapter 1, and the exploration is that entry to the soul. We grow, and as we grow, we learn more about ourselves, and sometimes our views change. Although the self-concept is resistant to change, it can change, and it goes back to being competent in communication, knowing the skills and being able to adapt them, which is what we're going to discuss in this chapter, on this video. So we're going to talk about acting social perspectives. What do people expect us to be? And then who are we when we are just with our significant others? Those people that we trust, those people that we would give anything to. How others perceive us, how they view us, and then again how we view ourselves, which can be something different. Those two views are different, the way that we view ourselves and the way that others view us. Sometimes the way people view us may be more charitable than we actually view ourselves, because we have different faces, we have different selves that we show to different people. So the first thing I want to talk about when going through the chapter is particular others, and I also like to call that significant others, just like I talked about last week. These are the people that are closest to you. It doesn't have to be your husband or your wife or your partner, but it is someone that you feel comfortable disclosing information to. And you may never disclose everything. You may disclose everything or you may not. It just all kind of depends on the relationship that you have with them. Are you going to disclose every day? No, you probably won't. But you're going to disclose at certain points in your relationship more than other. You may have a secret that you are waiting to tell them at the right point because you don't want them maybe to look down on you. Maybe you feel ashamed. There's all sorts of different reasons, but you disclose to them at a certain point. And that is the particular other, significant other. Others who are important. Their communication is important to us. Those are the ones that we communicate the most with. And then these are people who truly shape us. Think about your significant other. Is that person someone that shapes you? Is that someone whose opinion you hold very high? That when they say something, you're like, oh, yeah, of course. Why didn't I think of that? That's that particular other. We also have what's called reflected appraisal. And that's how others view us. The question for this is, how does this different from the way that we view ourselves? Is it different? Is it different with different groups of people? Do we put on a different self, a different face, a different mask when we're around these people? And how does that affect us as communication-wise? And how is that going to affect us with interpersonal? It's how we see ourselves. And then how does that shape ourselves? It's also known as the looking glass self, or the looking glass theory, because we're looking inside of a mirror and we may see the same thing that they see and we may not. And how does that affect us? How does that make us feel when we do that? Does it change us, and does it change around the people that are around us? The other part is identity scripts. So we have particular significant others, we have reflected appraisal, looking glass self, and then we have identity scripts. Identity scripts is like changing faces for different people. These are the rules that we have for identity. These are the rules that we have for living. When we're around these people, this is how we act. When we're around this group, this is how we act. You're probably not going to act the same way around your boss's friends, your significant other's friends, your husband, wife, partner, whoever. as you would maybe your best friend. In this course, we're going to get close just because that's the nature of the course. We talk about things that are personal, and we think about ourselves in a different light, and we see ourselves. But we're not going to share everything. And so you're going to have a different script, a different face for when you come into class than you would if you were just hanging out with your friends. This is the first video. It's about 5 minutes and 30 seconds long, and now I'm going to go into another video.